Hey, it's Jody here with an update. I think we'll do a health update for this one, and then I'll make another one with the art update. I just varnished a bunch of pieces, so most of the things I wanted to show you are not ready. I decided I'm going to start vlogging. I always wanted to do more of a regular vlog, day in the life kind of thing, and I've been really called to do it with everything happening with my epilepsy and documenting my journey. Someone reached out to me yesterday and said, I have a friend who has a son who just randomly started having seizures at 18, and it's been a few years now, and I was telling her about you, and your story was very inspiring, how all the things you go through, you're still positive all the time. And I didn't think that was such a big deal, but apparently I can help someone else just by being who I am and sharing my story. And that made me realize, you always wanted to do that. You always wanted to make videos and just share your story because you have so much to say. And I'm coming up on my 54th birthday in a couple weeks, and it goes by so fast. To anyone younger than 54, just know it goes by so fast. And the number one thing that's been on my mind this week is how I took my health for granted. I totally took my health for granted because I've been overweight my whole life. Never this big. I think once I was about this big. But even then, I was in the best health of my life. I used to joke with my doctor that I was the healthiest fat chick in his practice. And he would just look at me because it was funny, but he didn't want to laugh with me. And, like he'd be confirming I'm a fat chick, but I was, if you are. But I've been thinking all week as I'm suffering major health things right now. And I'm literally at a point again where I'm like, oh, do I need to call the primary again and discuss this? More stuff's going on. I've been thinking a lot about how much I took my health for granted my entire life. And I thought, that should be your next video. That would be a great title. Don't take your health for granted. Because I did, and I'm paying for it now at 54. I was like, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine, and just do too much over and over. I was a workaholic. From the time I was 14 years old, I was working, really more like 11 or 12 because I used to babysit. And then by the time I was 13, I was actually a cashier in a dry cleaner because the people I babysat for owned a dry cleaner. And so I was a cashier for them after school. So I was making cash, 13, 14 years old. Besides just babysitting. And it just took on from there. And I'm going to make a video about that one day, about the childhood and why I had to do that, but for my sanity. But yeah, my whole life, I just worked and worked and worked and worked. And my avoidance technique was work. If I had shit going on in my life, well, you know what? At least I can do a good job at work. At least I can go do everything in my power to bring home a paycheck. At least I can do this right. And so I got really good at working and being business Jody. And yeah, and I smoked cigarettes for 35 years. And then when I quit, I used vaping, got me to quit cigarettes, but then I vaped for 3 years. I quit that in 2022. Haven't had a drink since 2020. Even then I wasn't drinking regularly. It was like once every 6 months or 9 months we'd have a drink, like at a restaurant or something. And I remember in 2020, I was like, I miss chocolate cake shots. And we went and bought, I forget what it's, Frangelico and something else. And you mix them together 50-50 and you have a shot and you have a lemon slice. That was the key. You have the shot and you bite the lemon and it leaves a chocolate frosting feel and taste in your mouth. And I remember we were laughing. I said, if I'm going to have one drink, let's do that. And we went and bought the stuff. And I had a drink. I think I had a shot and had no effect. And I had another shot and no effect whatsoever. And I thought, that's really weird to have 2 shots of alcohol and not even feel any effect whatsoever when I haven't drank in years. And that was one of the first clues that there was something wrong with me, actually. And that's why I remember it so clearly. But I was never a big drinker. I had times in my life where I was social and I had a place I would go and be social. And when I was there, I would drink with everybody else. But then I would go home and I would like not drink again until I went there again. And then even, like when I was hanging out there a lot for a couple of years, it was like, well, I got it. It was after my kids were getting bigger, and I was like, okay, I'll get that out of my system. And then I just one day didn't drink anymore, and I was showing up and not drinking, and everyone was like, why are you not drinking? And I was like, I don't want to drink. I've never been that person that needs it, or that, and again, that's another video. But so there's just like so many times in my life where I was hard on my body, where I smoked a pack of cigarettes a day, where I would go out and party with friends and drink a lot in one weekend. And maybe it was because I didn't drink all the time that my body could handle it back then, for those just few short years that I did that. But I don't know. I look back on my whole life and I just think I took my health for granted. And I smoked for 35 years. Because I was always, no matter how big I was, I never had bad blood pressure. I never had bad cholesterol. I never had any of, pre-diabetes warnings, nothing. And ever since I got epilepsy and started having seizures randomly in 2019 at 49, was when I first knew I was having something happen. We realized later I was probably having them at least a year earlier and didn't know it yet because there's so many different kinds of seizures. And then I started having the big grand malls in 2021, and that was really scary. But 2020 was bad, but 2021 was really scary. And the more I had all these things happening, and constantly going to the emergency room and constantly going to doctor visits and trying to figure out what was going on. And every time I'd get a blood test, and now they take your blood pressure and it's a little higher than last time and higher than last time. Now I'm sitting here with horrible blood pressure on blood pressure medication. Now they just doubled my Keppra, my seizure meds. I'm having so many health issues, and I just want to tell everyone under 50, don't take it for granted. At least exercise regularly, even if you just walk, because now I love walking, and I will walk anywhere, anytime, any place. I love walking. It's so easy, and with every step, I am doing something positive for my body, my physical and mental health, and I love walking. And it becomes addictive to see the steps and be like, how far can I go? Can I go a little farther? And now one of the things that I'm doing actually to keep me feeling inspired to keep going and not give up with all these health challenges, because it's easy. There's some days, man, there's some days when, because my base problem, like now I have high blood pressure and now I have other things, but my base problem is my epilepsy, and it's a neurological disorder. And right now I'm talking and I feel totally like myself, and I feel like I sound totally like the Jody that we all know and love. But I have days, like I think it was Monday, I had such a bad day neurologically. I could barely get through the day, and we had appointments that I had to go to, and like the mistakes that I made horrified me. It's one thing when you forget something and people will be like, oh, I forget something. I walk in a room and forget, can't remember where I set that down. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about where you go to do something that you've done every week for the last 5 years, and you're confused like an Alzheimer's patient. And it was like that all day long, and it was horrifying. And I never know when that's going to happen. I never know when I'm going to wake up. That's why before I knew I was having seizures, we thought I had early onset Alzheimer's. That's how bad it is, because it's a neurological disorder. But I'm losing my train of thought. I was going somewhere. 9 minutes I've been talking, and I don't know what I said and what I haven't, because now I'm getting all nervous because I'm talking about Monday, because it was so upsetting on Monday. But yeah, so we didn't even know that I was having epilepsy. We just knew something was wrong for a long, long time. And then I finally had a seizure in front of someone, and they was like, "You had a seizure?" And I was like, "No, I had this cool out-of-body experience in my head, altered consciousness, everything was going woo." And they're like, no, out here you had a seizure." And that's when we first figured out, oh, okay, that's what's going on. So yeah, anyway, I'm gonna start making videos and talking about what's going on, because first of all, I need to be seen and heard. I live in a bubble, very alone, very much by myself. 95% of my time is spent alone, me and my belongings in a room, and so that's not good for me. And so I'm gonna try harder to connect with friends over Zoom and things like that, and I'm gonna start making more videos about where I'm at and how I got here, and why, even when some days are really hard and really scary, like Monday, why I refuse to give up. I didn't come here to give up. Boy, I've wanted to. There was a day last September that I reached out for help. But I'm here on a mission, and I know that. And I know I'm here